Αξιότιμες κυρίες, αξιότιμοι κύριοι, εκλεκτοί καλεσμένοι. Καλησπέρα.
Dear guests, welcome to the award ceremony of the International Transdisciplinary Architectural Ideas competition Arxellence 3, organized by the Alumil Group and Gyaros non-NGO. So this competition takes place under the auspices of the Technical Chamber of Greece and under the collaboration with the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment. My name is Anastasia Filippeu. I'm an architect, and on behalf of the organizers, I would like to welcome you to today's event. I would like to thank, in particular, my dear colleague, Mr. Arxellence who has been the person who coined the idea first and drafted the program, and Mr. George who is the chief engineer of Alumil and the head of the jury of architect, for honoring me with assigning me the role of moderating this discussion. Arxellence 3 aims at keeping the historic memory alive and highlighting the very particular environmental characteristics of Gyaros Island, an island with a very big history, a heavy type of history, a heavy history, let's say, and we invite the international community, together with other specializations, to brainstorm, to design, to exchange ideas, and submit proposals in order to build a museum and a modern research center that will be the beacons of culture and thus contribute to the preservation of historic memory and the creation of new strategies for the protection of the biodiversity in the Mediterranean. This is a call not just a project to be created, but in order a call to understand the more complicated nature of this location, to build a paradigm based on specific rules and regulations that may be used also in other areas of Greece. Arxellence 3 has been inspired, and it's fully aligned with the call of the European Parliament to create methods for the protection of biodiversity through the EU Biodiversity Strategy for 2030 report, entitled Bringing Nature Back into Our Lives. So they invite us to bring nature back into our lives, actually. So, explicitly enough, the competition terms and conditions forbid any kind of use of this location for touristic or amusement purposes. We have had 1,168 candidates or projects submitted from 31 countries, and today's evening is dedicated to the projects in the shortlist, and of course, primus inter pares, the research teams that have been awarded will present their proposals. These ideas stood out not just because of their architectural qualities, but mainly because they show their capability to bridge different scientific specializations and reply to questions in the context of a truly interdisciplinary dialogue that has to give answers to a multitude of specific issues such as conservation and preservation of historic monuments, to water management, energy management, protection of maritime ecosystems and biodiversity through a complicated, interconnected network of ideas and practices. So the jury appreciated this kind of synergies between specializations in order to come up with a realistic, feasible idea with respect to the legacy, to the history and the ecosystem, while at the same time giving answers to challenges of the modern era. Arxellence 3, it's an established, acclaimed institution that has proven that it can mobilize the architectural community, our institutions and the society itself on these matters. Actually, this is the third edition of the Arxellence initiative under the Alumil Group in the context of their CSR policies. In brief, let me say that Arxellence was born in 2018 when the first international Arxellence 1 was organized on building a technologically adequate building and a flawless building. And in 2021, we have had Arxellence 2 for a project on urban intervention, and today, currently, it goes on. It's a research project for additional criteria to govern further upgrade of the urban landscape. Now, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Georgios Milonas, the President and CEO of Alumil Group, and he will declare the event open.
Καλησπέρα σας.
Thank you very much for your presence. We're doing something that has no business, no underlying business purposes. We do that with our hearts, and we believe that we should not be just businessmen. We have to do things for our home country, for our place, for the environment in which we operate. As a company, we operate in various projects, huge projects, urban development ones. We collaborate with major architectural design studios who have seen places being fully revamped, creating magic, as we say. So we have, let's say, experience of the importance of the architect's interventions and the way these people can breathe life into a project in a completely different way than we, the ordinary people, can think of. I'm not going to say many things to avoid spending more time. Now, what I want to say is the following. So, today we are conferring the awards of this competition, and we gladly appreciate the promulgation of the first presidential decree on the delimitation of specific territories and land uses of the Gyaros Island following the Council of State's recommendations and audit. This is something that apparently was meant to be, but we believe that the role played by this initiative was significant. We took the island into consideration. We helped the island take its life back, and we mobilized people to make up their minds and take decisions. So this decree confirms the purposes, the guidelines of this interdisciplinary jury of Arxellence 3, highlighting the importance, the contribution of the project submitted in order to create the day after in Gyaros, with the main role played by the Ministry of Environment has been substantial in this project. OFECA, which is the recognized institution for the preservation of the monument, has been of the location, has been a partner in this project, which of course increases or strengthens the integrity of this competition. We'd like to thank Dr. Maria Papadopoulou, the president of OFECA and the chair of the jury, and all the members of the jury and our technical consultant who ensured the scientific integrity, the reliability, and the trustworthiness of this competition. There has been no involvement whatsoever by Alumil or EEST, the NGO. We only gave them the core idea, and we fully supported their efforts. So the proposals submitted bring forward a comprehensive network for interventions in alignment with SDGs and European policies for sustainability, with full respect to the ecosystem, the nature, and the historic memory. So linking a museum with a beacon of culture innovation create a paradigm of sustainability. Said presidential decree confirms the compatibility of these guidelines with the European and the national framework, thus allowing scientific research, the use of scientific equipment for research purposes, whereas the fine-tuning and the granularity of these interventions will be defined later on. What is for certain is that it will be avoided to have any kind of touristic use of this place in full alignment with the terms and conditions of our competition. It is made clear today that Arxellence 3 contributed greatly to highlighting the importance of preserving and protecting Gyaros. It mobilized and sensitized. It apologized the international community and the community of architects and engineers, which confirms the robustness and the drive of Arxellence 3 in a way that is commensurate to the role played by aluminium in the international market. This kind of competitions exist because even those who are experts might make a mistake. These competitions are not tools to confirm what the power suggests, but to challenge it. These competitions allow the young people to challenge the existing rules and multiply the priorities. Our experience from the Arxellence 2 on the urban development of Thessaloniki's western entry point, where there used to be, we have had an amazing participation of no less than 110 countries. It was amazing. I mean, the proposals submitted have been amazing in the way the authors perceived how the place should be developed. We're talking about a place where fair and some industries used to be there. The place was so smelly. So we have some amazing and trustworthy interventions right now taking place, because it shows that there are always ways to intervene and revamp entire areas if you want to. So such a competition is a way to open up community to scientific research and create a better world. This is what we're going to do in the future. This is our vision, to create the circumstances in order to improve the quality of life of our fellow humans, and we will keep on doing that as long as we have people like you showing interest to these initiatives. Thank you very, very much.
Προσκαλέσω τώρα στο βήμα τον Υφυπουργό Ανάπτυξης, κύριο Λάζαρο Τσαβδαρίδη.
Mr. Lazaros Tsavdaridis is invited to the floor.
Καλησπέρα και από μένα.
Good afternoon, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to be here amongst you, representing the Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, in this truly important event for the award ceremony for the transdisciplinary international transdisciplinary competition Arxellence 3. I would like to convey the interest of the government for these initiatives that managed to bridge together so flawlessly culture, environment, and innovation. The theme of this installment of the competition touches us deeply, because Gyaros is not just a small dot in the middle of the Aegean. It's a place with a heavy historic load. It's a rock on which pages of struggle and suffering have been written for freedom, struggles for freedom and democracy. Preserving the historic memory of this place of martyrdom has been a non-negotiable duty of ours vis-à-vis the generations to come. A nation that fails to honor, fails to remember, and fails to be taught by its past cannot move safely forward with confidence. At the same time, Gyaros is a unique habitat for the biodiversity. This is why the promotion and the protection of its particular qualities and characteristics is a huge challenge in order to protect this refuge. This is why it is so important to have this kind of scientific competition in order to get the proposals that we need that respect nature, the historic memory, and respect also the environment. The proposals submitted show that development and respect to the environment are not concepts, are not incompatible ones, are not incompatible concepts, but ones that complement one another. As the Deputy Minister of Development, I would like to praise Alumil's initiative and of course to praise the NGO's Aegea's contribution, and of course the role played by the Technical Chamber. These partnerships evidence the level of maturity of Greek entrepreneurship, since it understands what its proper role, it invests in our society, and it leaves its own footprint on the field of CSR. I would like to wholeheartedly congratulate the organizers of the event, the international jury, and of course all the participants for their proposals. It is through your vision that Gyaros' historical memory and legacy will be preserved, and its future will be brightened with due respect. Thank you. Mr. Loudias gave me the floor, so let me thank you. I'm the Secretary General of the Ministry of Environment. My name is Efthymios Bakoyannis. I just want to make a comment about this amazing work you've done over the past period. I'm referring to the Alumil Group because it is worth mentioning that a company, I don't know where you found that inspiration. I'm addressing that to the owner of the company. The fact that you were able to breathe the different type of life into the architectural perception of our landmarks, that's something very, very encouraging, and I think you should be the paradigm for others, to other entities that take on building projects that are open to the public and offer public access. And this architectural competition could have been a core element to prove the transparency, the reliability, and the value of the proposal selected. I know that many entities do not opt for this competition because of the complexity and the time that need to be spent, so they assign it to a third party, a design studio. Yes, but such a competition has a quality of its own, it creates value, and after I congratulate Mr. Milonas and all the organizers, because the whole competition has been it evolved so smoothly, I would say that this competition inspires people with having an executive position to move forward. I was in another event just before I came here in collaboration with other chambers, talking about the use and reuse of our protected buildings. So, Mr. Milonas, with your contribution, maybe we can come up with a new competition on how we can use use and reuse our building heritage, and of course this will give a brand new color to our cities, and of course breathe air into the life of architecture as a whole. Now let's give the floor to Mrs. Roy Cavaliaratou, She's the architect engineer representing Aegeas NGO of the Martinos family. Aegeas, together with Alumil, launched and ran the competition itself. On behalf of the Aegeas, apologies, but we have the music playing in our headphones. We cannot interpret, as already discussed with the organizers. Now, this is a project in which architectural creation managed to combine in a harmonious way the protection of historic memory with new ideas for sustainability. Gyaros, a barren island at the center of the Aegean Sea, is close to Tinos, Sikros and Mykonos Islands, and close to the sacred island of Delos, a place of suffering, a place of torture. Lots of our fellow patriots have been imprisoned there. Many have lost their lives there, as this is something evidenced by the prison and the buildings that are still standing. But also Gyaros is a wildlife refugee. You can find there wild boars, wild rabbits, eagles, and of course you can find seals and seagulls in the rocks next to the sea. When Evangelos Luloudias, an architect representing, the architect proposed to Mr. Martinos to host and to launch this competition, he said yes, very happily. And we also said yes immediately because it is our duty to protect our culture and historic legacy. Besides, this is a very sensitive topic, protecting and preserving the Gyaros legacy, and that was something that since the early 2000s has been a topic of discussion, also thanks to the contribution of the then Minister of the Aegean, Mr. Sifonakis. For the Alumil president, this was an opportunity to reconnect with the island, the prison buildings being derelict, the wildlife that needs to be protected, the forgotten tombs, and the derelict churches of the shepherds, who had to abandon Gyaros when the island was taken over by the state in order to turn it into an exile. The Arxellence competition has been the reason and the starting point for a coordinated effort on behalf of the Greek state and the sensitive social stakeholders like the Ministry of Culture, the National Technical University, the Union of prisoners in the Gyaros from 1967 to 1974, the Technical Chamber of Greece, the WWF, and the Municipality of Syros, in order to preserve and protect the island, not its exploitation. I'm talking about the preservation of this island, which stands at the heart of the Aegean Sea. And besides, as Mr. Milonas said, we find ourselves in a very happy conjuncture because the presidential decree was promulgated recently about the specific regime of protection of the island of Gyaros. So, on behalf of EEST, I would like to congratulate Aris Grammatas and Iasonas Fragos, the architect engineers, for winning the first place, and all the participants for their amazing proposals. Some of them have been extremely well documented, and some of which we will see soon on the slides. Thank you.
Στο σημείο αυτό να...
At this point, I would like to invite Dr. Maria Papadopoulou. She's a professor at the National Technical University of Athens and the president of the Natural Environment and Climate Change Agency, or PIFECA, and the chair of the Arxellence 3 jury. Good evening. In this triple capacity of mine, both as a professor at the university, which I'm very proud of, and as it's a great opportunity given to me through Alumil and the president and the foundation of Athanasios and Marina Martinos, and also as a president of the Natural Environment and Climate Change Agency Board. As Ms. Cavallaro said, Gyaros is a protected area, and it was just a few days ago that the presidential decree for its protected regime has been promulgated. So the place is protected, the ecosystem is protected, but this doesn't mean that the protected area is closer to doing things there. But you have to do them in specific ways as specifically delimited by science itself. So, having said that, that was the rationale behind my acceptance of becoming the president of the jury following Mr. Milonas' proposal and the proposal of Evangelos Liroudias, my dear colleague, to be the president of the jury in order to assess the amazing proposals we have received, some of which will be awarded today. While at the same time showing that ideas and proposals to highlight the importance of important landmarks like Gyaros goes through the establishment of a scientific approach. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, the Deputy Minister and the Secretary General also said that Arxellence 3 is more than an architectural competition. It's a platform for transdisciplinary and artistic approaches, prioritizing the synergies between different specializations. We're going to have a great deal of interdisciplinarity in this project. Our aim was to bridge two specific concepts that you can find in Gyaros. One is the preservation of historic memory and the protection of its fragile ecosystem in a ways that only such a transdisciplinary protection may ensure. Gyaros invites us to bring together ecology, culture, sustainability, and history together. So the teams of architects, the teams of scientists and engineers who work together and manage to bring together ideas that protect both the historic legacy and the environment has been amazing. What was asked for them? Minimum nuisance and intervention to the nature with and things that can be reverted using circular economy concepts in order to promote education, culture, and historic memory. Polygenic memory of self-efficiency of Grammatas and Fragos has been the paradigm of this transdisciplinary approach. The proposal brought together style and architectural innovation using natural ways for water management and micro indicators for the quality of water, down to closed waste management systems and small-scale farming. In the same context, they brought together the museum, the Research Center for Biodiversity, and auxiliary services. It is quite telling to say that contributions by different specializations may create a functional and ethically adequate result. Arxellence 3 proves that an interdisciplinary approach should and must be part of the curriculum of new architects who are supposed to design in the space. They're not just to be taught certain technical skills. They are taught how to discuss, how to integrate new solutions, new ideas, and of course propose things that show full respect to human nature and nature. So through this process, Gyaros becomes a living laboratory creating added value for the environment and our society. I would like, from the bottom of my heart, to thank all the interdisciplinary teams that took part, the members of the jury, the supporters, those who accepted the challenge of thinking outside the box, because this polyphony of different voices and the knowledge, that's what made Arxellence 3 a competition that was so innovative, in which different specializations are not rivals, but they complement each other. So congratulations to all the teams that stood out, and mainly to Mr. Grammatas and Fragos for their interdisciplinary approach and their final proposal, which proposes solutions promoting transdisciplinary for sustainable, sensitive, and socially accepted ideas. Thank you. Now we will have the presentation and the awarding ceremony of the proposals, including the ones that came up at a draw and the top three ones. I would like first to invite the architecture delegation, Erce Funda and Zeynep Chirak Aydin.
We would like to thank those who contribute to organization such a competition and for allowing us to participate in this process. In particular, we found the historical background and location of the competition's theme, as well as the program's plan to use the space efficiently and make it accessible to users to truly inspiring. The fact that the jury allowed participants the freedom to explore their design also provided us with no obstacles in reflecting our core ideas in our project. As we reflected on this opportunity, it reminds me of a question we often heard during our architectural studies whenever our relatives and elders found out we were studying architecture. They would humorously ask, "Hey son, when you become an architect, if they ask you design a prison, would you do it?" We would answer somewhat shy and hesitantly. But here, fortunately, the institution that launched the competition has not asked us to design a prison. Instead, they have given us the opportunity to transform into a kind of paradise. We are truly grateful. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to hand over the stage to my teammate to continue with the next part of the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Gyaros was built to suppress. We refuse to soften it. We keep the tension. We redirect it. This is not a domesticated past. This is a rewritten system. We intervene, we open, we remove, reduced. A prison becomes a research center. A lockup opens to the sky and nature and becomes a source of life and freedom. Not through form, but through use. Same memory, different power. That's it. And we have a video. Can you start it?
How can we start?
The video.
Yes, do you have it?
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Which one is us?
Okay.
Can you help me?
We gave the.
Yes, you have this one, and you can change the sliders. It's not a video, it's a PDF presentation.
Next.
Yeah, next. It's a presentation.
Çok hızlı gitti.
Birden başlıyorum. Saçma. Yok ya. Şimdi çözdüm.
There is no video. But this is a PDF presentation that you sent us.
They said we could play the video and
We didn't have any video.
we
It's a
gave
PDF
it
presentation.
Okay, no
Sofia,
problem.
we gave Sofia. Okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
That's it.
Να έρθει παρακαλώ ο κύριος Ευάγγελος Λιρούδιας για την βράβευση.
Congratulations for your excellent presentation. And this is a green dream. I wish it could happen to all Gyaros Island. So also, many happy returns of the day. And where's the photograph? Just smile. Here or there. Everything is doing for. Okay?
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Επόμενος έπαινος, ο κύριος Μπεν Χιούζερ από την Ελβετία.
Can you help me? Can you help me? Ah. So one click, it goes on. Yes. Okay.
Καλησπέρα.
Good evening.
The project Infrastructural. It's a screenplay, a script, a narrative of the day of 13th of June, 1948, times of civil war. 13th of June, a day in the period of the civil war. The narrative is based on a 34 pictures from the archives of the International Committee of the Red Cross. One day in the more than 2,000 years of the history of Gyaros Island of exile. What is next? Next. You go faster. Okay, the island, the island contains its past like the lines of a hand. Yanis Ritsos watching us. The museum, the borderline on the land side. Oh, this is already a master plan. The museum contains the whole area. The research hub, you see with the double circles. It's same time it's the new pier where people arrive. Then, and the rest is experimental agriculture, biodiversity protection area, and for sure marine biodiversity protection area. So, on the right side, there is a piece of these tunnels. On the top, the hall of the 17,000 names. On bottom, a walkthrough. Where's the next? Okay. So these are penitentiary camps number 2, penitentiary camp number 3. The research hub, it's a reused oil rig transformed into this research thing at a dormitory on top of the section, the laboratory on the middle, a research institute on the first floor. You see the ramp from the new pier going up into the tunnel, into the hall of the 17,000 names. There it starts. What the hell is that? It was slow. I see. Here again, the research hub with the floor plans on the right side. The research institute, the laboratory, the dormitories, and there is a paper model. To show the volume. The pictures is the bay number 4, the camp number 4, with the administration building in the background, this brick building under construction. All these pictures are from the same day. Here, this is the original plan from F. Metaxa, architect of technical services of the Justice Ministry. That's the day, 1948, foundations, on the left side a bakery, the background again, Bay 4. We do not use the prison building. We think it should go slowly. We propose a structure, a steel structure to protect the building from collapsing too fast. Here, this thing is camp number 5. All of them, the last day, a day of swimming. Here again, on the right side, the site layout of Camp 1. There are passerelles. There will be about the height. The entrance of the prison building is about 9 meters above sea level. So we propose a passerelle and a walk-through on a height of about 9 meters too. And in the bay one, that red line is the same, it corresponds on the picture on the right, on the top. It is the line on the seaside of Liberty and on the land side of detention. This is camp number 2 and 3. Same museum walkthrough. And finally, bay number 4, camp number 4, the prison building, we've inserted the original plan. And on the bottom, camp number 5, with bay number 5. Again, a walkthrough. And that's it. Thank you.
Καλέσω τον...
I would like now to invite Mr. Ευθύμιος Bagogiannis to present an honorable mention to the architects.
Επόμενος
Next, honorable mention to representatives of the Arrogant Architects delegation, Mr. Petro Bulkin and Nikoleta Zvenkova, and Zaklin Dimitrova, apologies, from Bulgaria.
και
Can we have the presentation, please? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jacqueline, part of Arrogant Architects team, a design studio based in Bulgaria and founded 20 years ago. I'm most honored to be here tonight, and I would love to acknowledge the exchange of ideas and the radical thinking platform provided by Arxellence and Aomil. For me, as a young architect, diving into the dark history and fragile ecosystem of Gyaros was a turning point in my growth as a professional. I realized that instead of building new walls or refurbishing existing ones, the challenge we are facing today is actually figuring out how to empower and revive nature. We took a radically different approach in our project, Waves of Renewal, and it doesn't begin on the shore, it begins at sea. It's kind of like a positive virus for healing coastal areas and other islands in need globally. In a moment, I will try to play our short video and show you exactly how this system works. But before I do, I want to leave you with an open and honest invitation. We have the power not just to build walls, but to revive. Let us, together, everyone here tonight, join our forces, push all the boundaries, and actually be that wave of renewal. Enjoy the video.
The Aegean Sea, a cradle of civilizations, dotted with islands of breathtaking beauty and challenging histories. Gyaros, an island marked by a difficult legacy, a place where the land itself seems to hold memories of confinement. A desolate landscape bearing witness to immense human suffering. The ruins of Gyaros prison whisper with the enduring anguish of thousands, a haunting reminder of its disruptive past. But what if we could transform this legacy? What if the very sea that surrounds Gyaros could help heal its land? This is our vision, a sustainable restart, a new beginning. At the heart of our approach is a pioneering floating marine institute, a temporary, modular hub designed for minimal environmental impact. Assembled on-site from standard sustainable components, it's a catalyst initiating ecological research and restoration. To protect the sensitive marine environment, EcoHelix anchors gently screw into the seabed with minimal ecological disturbance. The marine structure's components are also designed with care. Lightweight and durable, they ensure easy transport and versatile assembly, both above and below the waterline, for multiple reuses. These structures' strength lies in their modularity. 18 identical units, rapidly deployable and reconfigurable. This isn't just about speed, it's about adaptability and a circular economy. Once its mission on Gyaros is complete, the Marine Institute can be disassembled and redeployed, becoming a positive virus for regeneration, ready to spark change elsewhere. Fully sustainable, it harnesses solar energy via integrated sailcloth, storing it as green hydrogen. Rainwater is captured and purified. Even its structure contributes, with integrated artificial reefs enhancing local biodiversity. The Institute is dedicated to the study and preservation of the significant local monk seal population, endemic corals, and the diverse aquatic wildlife of the fragile marine ecosystem. This living laboratory is dedicated to coastal ecosystem study and preservation, a platform for scientists, a sanctuary for marine life. We believe new facilities should not burden the land. Therefore, all exploration and study begin here, at sea. On land, we recycle the past. A unique floating pier connects sea exploration with the island's history. Visitors walk a path of remembrance, acknowledging what was, before witnessing what can be. The prison becomes a healing garden. Native plants reclaim stone, forging fertile ground, powered by new energy. A path of remembrance reveals the past transformed, now an engine for sustainable life. Former prison yards are repurposed, hosting the engines of renewal, systems for clean energy and fresh water. Native climbing fig and caper plants are carefully introduced, claiming the former prison walls. Gyaros will become a model of self-sufficiency. Solar power, captured both at sea and on land, fuels its revival. Excess energy is stored as green hydrogen or utilized in an innovative pumped hydro seawater battery, using gravity to power desalination. Rainwater is harvested, seawater is desalinated, even the brine byproduct is transformed, nourishing halophyte ponds that create new habitats, or carefully processed to recover salt. This integrated system nurtures the island, allowing its ecosystem to heal robustly. The Marine Institute's intervention is temporary, a catalyst. Once primary goals are met, it moves on, leaving behind an island on a path to full recovery, supported by remote monitoring. Gyaros, waves of renewal, a testament to the power of innovative thinking to heal our planet, one island, one wave at a time.
Θα καλέσω τον κύριο Νίκο Σαλπ.
I would like to invite Mr. Nikos Salpigidis for the awarding ceremony. At this very point, let's say that a honorable mention has also been given to the Michael Partners team coming from the UK. The project was Gyaros Memorial Museum, but they couldn't attend today's event. We don't have the full title of the project. Now, let's continue with the third prize. Zerin Fuda Uruk, Mehmet Zafer Akdemir, and Dilek Nimet Ayman Rodriguez from Turkey.
This one? This one is the next, okay. Hello,
I'd like to extend my greetings to you on behalf of the team that we won third prize. On behalf of the team, I'd like to thank the organizations that organized the competition and the selected community. Now, rather than using our 15 minutes simply present our project, we believe it would be meaningful to share how we organized this competition process and the impression it left on us. Because for us, this was not just another competition we have participated in before. It was a completely different experience. In many ways, it felt like a postdoctoral journey. When we first read the brief, one thing became immediately clear. This was not a problem that could be solved within the boundaries of the single discipline. The future of the island could not be reduced to architecture alone. It required something deeper, a layered, multidisciplinary way of thinking. So we began to listen. We listened to islands again and again. We tried to understand not only its physical reality, but also traces of its memory, its past, its silence. Going beyond the data provided in the brief, we conducted extensive and multi-layered research. We approached the island not just a physical space, but through a holistic vision that preserves the spirit of place. From its morphological structure to the settlement patterns, from wind dynamics to flora, from natural landscape values of structure remains and trace temporal settlements, from water resources to rural architecture typologies, and even the emotional layers of lived experience, and we studied everything we could. Like different dialectics of language, we tried to read the construction patterns of the stone architecture through the remains found on the island. In order to develop strategies and roadmaps for carrying these values into the future, we work closely with the multidisciplinary team and highly experienced consultants. This is our architecture team and consultant teams. You can see the names and their opportunities. And at a certain point, two ideas became central to our thinking. We inspired by French anthropologists, the book of non-places. You can see the Marc Aigel books of non-places. If a place cannot be defined in terms of its identity, content, or history, it's considered a non-place. We inspired about this word. And you can see in the Turkish one, eğer bir yer kimliğici, ilişkisel ve tarihsel olarak tanımlanamıyorsa yok yer hükmündedir. Bu cümle bizi çok etkiledi. And the other idea at this point, the idea of Marshall de Certeau become participally influences for us. It is the user for transform a place into a space and their action within the place and its relation to it. Yerin mekana dönüştüren kullanıcılar ile onların yer edimleri, yer içerisindeki yerle arasındaki eylemlerdir. So, we ask ourselves, how can this island become a meaningful space again? Without erasing its past, but also without trapping it in that past. We tried to imagine a future that allows hope to grow. For us, the key concept of this process became from memory to nature. The concept guided everything we did. It shaped our short film, our decisions, and our overall visions. And in 3 minutes, we will see our short film about the island. Can we open the sound? No sound here. At the end of the... All the drawings are made with hands, not the PC. These, you see all the drawings we did with the handmade, with pencil and color pencils. Not finished. Throughout this process, we truly express the value of multidisciplinary collaboration. We learn from each other, from different disciplines, different language of thinking. While developing the master plan, we examined the island infrastructure and its relations with the Kyklad Islands and the mainland. We proposed adapted scenarios for existing structures, especially for the main prison building. There one question became crucial. How do we balance past and future? In the transformation of the prison, establish a balance between past and future became a key design decision. The existing corridor became a reference to our memory. You'll see here the main corridor. And the new circulation axis we introduced became a spine, a structure that opens toward the future. This is the this is the main corridor, and the yellow one is the new corridor In the new corridor, new structure for the future, we envision new spaces for research, production, and sustainability-driven activities. We also evaluated climate projections and their possible impacts on the island. Within this scope, we addressed hydrology, water supply methods, renewable energy solutions, soil rehabilitation, biodiversity and local agricultural potentials, land coastal and marine ecology, blue economy activities, and the last one is the business planning and sustainable financial models. We approach all these as an interconnected system. At some point, we realized something. We had developed a deep emotional connection to the island, so much so that we even imagined a project called Radio Gyaros, a platform to share environmental knowledge as part of the future sustainability model. It is right on all these projects paper. Together with our consultants, we refined our ideas through long and thoughtful discussions. We explored how to carry the island's values into the future within a balance of conservation and transformation. We also focused on 5 buys. You can see the 5 buys, each carrying strong traces of settlements and integrating them in our design proposal. Sustainability for us was not something added on top. It was something delivered from the place itself. And during this process, the words of Turkish poet Edip Cansever stayed with us. He says, a person resembles the place where he lives. He is like the water of that place, the soil, the fish swimming in the waters, the flowers planted its soil. İnsan yaşadığı yere benzer. O yerin suyuna, o yerin toprağına benzer. Suyunda yüzen balığa, toprağını iten çiçeğe. We choose to present our work as a narrative because we realize the process itself is just as valuable, perhaps even more than the final outcome. And finally, throughout this journey, and always we built a strong bond with the island, and always kept alive our dream of visiting it together as a team. We wish. We would like to thank all team members and even those who couldn't join us here today for their contributions. And finally, we will express our sincere gratitude to the jury for honoring us with this award. Thanks a lot.
Να καλέσω παρακαλώ την κυρία Ευαγγελία Μιλωνά για τη βράβευση. Δεύτερο βραβείο, Αλή Αντατζή Γκαρμαρούντι από την Γερμανία.
Hello everyone, my name is Ali. I'm an architect based in Iran and Germany. First of all, I would like to mention my team members who could have joined me in this trip. Unfortunately, due to the war situation in Iran, they missed this opportunity. So my wife and I are here representing the team. And this is also our first time in Greece. I would like to sincerely thank Alumil company for organizing this competition and their generous hospitality. I want to start with this slide, with this old photo. What initially attracted us to participate in this competition was the visual quality of this building. A well-organized structure that was previously used only as a prison. The idea of redefining its function during renovation created an interesting design challenge for our team. It's clear in the image that the roofs are in much worse condition than the rest of the structure. Because of this, only the roofs were redesigned in our proposal, while the other structure parts were kept as they are. In the initial master plan, the main building is dedicated to work and activity, while the surrounding buildings are decided to be residential, each with independent access to the sea. The existing green space adjacent to the residential area has been reinforced, while in the main building, green space has been integrated into the interior spaces. Beyond administrative and service areas, 3 principal functions have been defined for this complex. Next. Beyond administrative and service areas, 3 principal functions have been defined for this complex: a museum or exhibition gallery, research centers, and residential units. The museum is located at the center of the site that invites visitors into the depth of the building. Research centers arranged around it to benefit from open views and visual horizons, while the residential units are positioned in the side buildings, maintaining a balanced distance between living and working environments. Although these 3 components share a common structural logic, each of them develops through a distinct spatial strategy, which I will briefly explain. First, the museum. This is the existing situation. The lateral load-bearing brick walls and the middle concrete columns and beams are preserved. The opening in the walls are also kept in their existing form to ensure natural ventilation and daylight. The new roof structure in the form of the truss was added to transfer the load of the flat roof to the beams efficiently. This is one of the physical models we made for this competition. And the final roof has narrow gaps that let in a controlled amount of soft natural light. The final roof covering material is proposed to be made of corten steel, which gradually change color over time, enhancing the building's character. And this is the final interior view and section of the museum part. And this is the exterior image of the museum body. The second section is labs, and research centers. Again, the existing section of the building. Again, removing damaged roof and preserving the walls and the middle structure. In the next step, a portion of the section is dedicated to circulation spaces, including connections between different research units, while allowing green space to penetrate into the building. The middle of the section used as a work and activity space. The height of the building allows us to create 2 floors with an independent structural system. The first floor is also connected to the ground through the stairs in the communication space on the side. The windows of the old building are removed, but their holes remain to provide a suitable horizon of view for the surrounding corridors. Finally, the roof of the first floor is a standalone and independent of the main structure. It has a one-sided slope in its direction that can be used for solar cell panels. And the final section of this part. Overall, this section is conceived as a transparent and open environment. The third section is the residences. The most important change in this was the creation of mezzanine for the residence sleep area, just on the top of the wet spaces, which can be seen in this plan and section. The access corridor is also located in the center of this building. Finally, images of the entire project are seen. First of all, the central and large courtyard of the project, where the walls and roof of the old building's access paths have been removed to create an open area and agricultural space for research purposes. In the bird's eye view, the overall organization of the complex is visible, the museum at the center, surrounded by research buildings with administrative and service areas located near the entrance, without major change in the structural elements. And that was the last slide. Thank you for your time and attention.
Θα προσκαλέσω τον κύριο Γεώργιο.
I would like to invite Mr. Georgios Milonas to present the award.
Πρώτο βραβείο.
And the first prize goes to Aris Gramatas and Iason Fragos from Greece.
Okay. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Aris Gramatas, architect and engineer from National Technical University of Athens and ETH Zurich.
And I am Iason Fragos, diploma holding architect engineer from Aristotle University of Thessaloniki As the majority of the audience today is Greek-speaking and there is also the option of translation, we kindly ask you for your understanding of for switching to Greek for the rest of the presentation.
So it is with particular pleasure and honor to be here with you in this amazing event, closing a period of intense work. It started 2 years ago. Our proposal, entitled Palingenesis, investigates the transformation of a derelict, deserted island into a modern research center with an international and regional footprint. At the core of our print, we have the coexistence of two contradictory terms: preservation of the historic memory of the island and the introduction of a brand new dynamic way of life. This duality for us has been the starting point of our proposal. So this duality is displayed in the program itself. We have a museum of history that coexists with a research center, including other activities for visitors and guests. Duality also has a includes a holistic approach when it comes to waste management, water management, in a very comprehensive network. So for us, it was not just about the architectural bit, but also the transdisciplinary approach, so this system can be a complementary, self-sufficient one. That was the basis of our bid, of our idea. So Gyaros is a semi-mountainous island with a very steep layout. This geomorphology, in combination with the lack of potable water, have made Gyaros a non-hospitable place for human activities to grow. However, that fact has allowed today many species of the fauna and flora to grow in the island, to develop and find a shelter there, both on the island and around the island. The Gyaros habitat hosts 10 to 15% of the total Mediterranean population of the monk seal. It's called monachus, that's the scientific name. Apart from the natural wealth of the island, Gyaros brings a very heavy historic load. From 1947 until 1975, intermittently, Gyaros has been a place of exile for 22,000 political prisoners. Now, the only witness of that dark period is the remaining structures, built from 1947 until 1951 by the prisoners themselves. Because of this historical load, Gyaros has been declared as a standing monument. The majority of the buildings are to be found in the southeastern side, between 5 bays, where you have remainings of the concentration camps of the prisoners. The biggest part of the facilities, you can see them here, between the 4th and the 5th bay. The photographs have shown us that those buildings that have not collapsed yet have serious damage. So aging, exposure to weather conditions, the fact that they are deserted for decades are the reasons for that. It is apparent that we have lots of damages on the shelf, the roofs, and the various rooms within the buildings. So aiming to allow for the rebirth of this place, our bid is organized around the concept of a living lab, a research hub of Gyaros, where various and diverse activities coexist and fuel each other. At the center, you can find research and innovation strongly connected with the protection and the restoration of the natural environment. At the same time, memory is integrated in this process through the museum and the cultural activities, so that all these uses coexist with full respect to the memory, whereas accommodation and offices support the daily services. All these components are connected through water and sun-related practices or infrastructure in a comprehensive network. For us, the main question has been how this system can operate on a 24/7 basis. That's how we came up with a specific plan for accommodation and lodging that goes hand in hand with the seasonal circles and the needs for research. As you can see, activity is not steady. We have an average population of 85 people that might go as high as 100 people and in summertime when research and educational activities are strengthened. Contrary to that, in wintertime, there is a specific number of people doing research, supporting the infrastructure, staying there. This allowed us to link the design with the actual number of people living there and the needs of the place, the water, the cultivations, the sun, creating a system that goes hand in hand and fully aligned with the environment. So analyzing the rate of visitors allowed us to quantify the challenges in terms of building facilities and cultivations and infrastructure needed. And last but not least, to assess better the existing structures. Based on that, we used a strategy of minimal intervention, aiming not at imposing ourselves on the place, but on promoting it. We opted for mild interventions with lots of underground works, number 1, number 2, number 3, following the traces of infrastructures that were never finally completed in the past. And at the same time, we did a very thorough investigation of the existing climatic data that were used for specific design options. And the main building of the prisons hosts the museum and the research center, number 2 in our case. This is a conscious decision to have an ongoing dialogue between research and memory, new life and old life, which has to be respected. This complex is complemented by 2 buildings, one of which hosts the Center for the Protection of Marine Life. In the bay, at the north of the complex, you see these 5 buildings, and number 9, which is the bay, the pier. The 2 buildings already existing are strengthened with 2 more buildings of the same architectural style, creating a complex of residential buildings. So close by and in a position protected by the weather conditions, which are very harsh on the island of Gyaros, we have supporting infrastructure and the crops and the greenhouses. So we have a fully functional system on the island. So the research center is being developed within the main building, and it includes laboratories, workspaces, shared areas, in order to support the daily life of the researchers. The museum itself is also situated within the main building and makes use of the existing prison cells, preserving the spatial memory and turning that into an experience of narration and understanding. The Marine Conservation Center includes restoration ponds and tanks and other facilities, plus the areas, the research areas for the protection of the monk seal. We also have the auxiliary building with the energy and water management infrastructure, and we have the dormitories built in order to support the daily life of the population with meeting points, personal areas, etc., etc. So the connecting tissue of all this was the idea of minimal intervention, as mentioned already, in order to preserve the identity and the dynamics of this locale. The additions, the first and the last one, these are the floor plans, are not treated as standalone buildings, but they are integrated within the existing ones, and they are created underground so they don't mingle with the memory. As far as the main building is concerned, our proposal is organized with around two distinct but interrelated areas: the museum, the place of memory, and the place of research. We have a new, active, and ongoing process. This distinction is functionally expressed and spatially because of the way the cells have been treated, the way they have been, let's say, designed and located, and the use of the open spaces. So, we have a main axis along the building with the use being opposite one to another, and gradually we change them. Through the atriums, we have empty spaces and filled places, creating frames within the building. We try to keep the hardscapes of the building and the new landscape for the research center, contribute to solve different problems on the one hand, and enhance this distinction between the users. So we have a complexity that allows visitors to have this spatial exchange and the understanding of the whole structure. As you can see, the visitor circulation and the staff circulation have a common starting point. They all enter from the top point, goes through the auxiliary building, the annex building, and then we have the gradual disclosure of the complex. Within the building, both populations move independently. The researchers use the main corridor, and the visitors use a circular downward, let's say, walk in order to observe the research center from a distance. Last, we have the exit towards the sea. This is a kind of mental relief valve for the visitors after moving, walking through the building, the prisons, and we end up with the last building, which is the Marine Preservation Center, mentioned already. Great importance, great emphasis has been placed on how to use the open places. The atriums are preserved, and whenever it is needed, they are restored so they play the role they were supposed to play. They are exposed to weather conditions and to the sun, the rain, preserving the feeling of isolation of the prisoners when they were having their walkout. The access to the research center is ensured through a point-specific break in this wall, which is an opening both for the structure itself, but also for the narrative of the place. Contrary to that, the research center's atriums are being designed as places for everyday life and interaction. We have plantation, water-absorbing elements, shadowing elements, create a very moderate climate, improving the weather conditions, and of course strengthening the visitor experience. We have specific areas for people to socialize, meeting points, the areas to host events, and we also have the orchard, the yard of the canteen. So it's not just an exhibition area, but a living cell of the whole place. This is a differentiation we did, which is completely intentional. So we have this exposure being part of the experience. Architecture here is not to add, is to preserve, is to highlight, and it is actually allowing the place, the space to talk. In the research center's atriums, as we saw before, architecture is there to activate the place. We have areas of shadows, of congregation, supporting the daily life of the space. So this transition from memory to new life is not abrupt, but it gradually evolves through the space itself. Now, with respect to the interiors of the museum, they are fully rebuilt. We have specific interventions in the rooftops, the openings, especially the rooftops are quite damaged. The aim of this intervention is dual. On the one hand, the building itself becomes an exhibit, and on the other hand, the visitor can, to some extent, understand the conditions of the living conditions of the prisoners, the humidity, the sun, the heat, as it was in the past. So it becomes a spatial experience of memory, conveying a fragment of the suffering and of the memory of this space, of this place. Now, moving on to the research center spaces, we focused on the adaptional reuse of the center so we can turn it into a high quality and high performance workspace. Our intervention is split in three: the cell, passive strategies, and energy systems. At the level of the cell, we strengthen the heat efficiency with a new insulation layer, and the character of the system of the building is being preserved by restoring the brick walls. We also introduce a new steel roof with integrated openings for natural ventilation and light. We expand the atriums, as you can see on the left-hand side, increasing natural ventilation and light, and the openings towards outwards are preserved in order to keep the original character of the cell. In terms of passive strategies, we use the blow of the wind, the introduction of the air from the bottom, and the thermal mass of the floor help us keep some moderate working conditions. At the same time, we have shadow systems regulating solar radiation. Last but not least, the building is supported by an efficient heating and cooling system using the existing geothermal power. Through photovoltaics, the roof generates power and collects rainwater for reuse. So these interventions will in total transform the existing building into a very modern, functional environment, whereas preserving its identity. All these strategies are depicted, are displayed openly in the laboratories. Here you see natural light coming from the rooftop, and the openings towards the atriums provide us with a quality and stable working area. Natural flow of air and thermal mass allow us to keep the working conditions, and the materiality of the brick walls of the building and the elements used keep the connection with the memory alive. So we have the legacy of the place connected with the modern uses of such a building. Our interventions are to be seen also in the outward, in the facade of the building. We keep the same architecture but using modern materiality and openings such as fan lights and skylights in order to keep, in order to promote the new functionality of the system, creating thus the idea of a brand new life that is contrary to the place of suffering that this place used to be. The only museum space that is morphologically changed is the museum, the multipurpose area at level 1 and level 2 of the former prison building. Here we merged two floors and we built stairs linking these two levels, creating this terrace. In this area, we can host events, other meetings, to preserve the historic memory of the building, and leads us to the exit. After one exits the museum, we leave behind the past of Gyaros and the prisons. We look forward and we see the horizon. So we're actually standing over the last building. There are some underground interventions in order to give solutions to current challenges, facilitating the life of the current and future residents of the building. We're talking about a marine preservation center, emphasizing on supporting, healing the maritime fauna, not just of Gyaros, but of the entire Eastern Mediterranean. In order for these design decisions to be taken, we had to systematically analyze and quantify the flows of the various elements: food, sun, water, energy. So we used the existing resources of the island: the sea, the sun, the earth, and the rain. Starting with the water, our system includes desalination facilities, while at the same time we have collection of rainwater for non-potable uses. Then we have the gray and black waste. The gray are immediately used, and the black ones are led to a waste management facility, closing the circle. Now, talking about energy. Energy is mainly relying on solar power, using batteries and photovoltaic systems for that purpose. This energy fully covers the needs of the water circle and the needs of the for the buildings, and at the same time we use heat pumps to cover the heating requirements. The system expands to the cultivations and the crops and the greenhouses. Watering comes from reused water and the waste management following the waste being treated. The residuals of this management, the waste management, is used for fertilizers and for the production of biogas. With this combined circle facility, we can have also the additional power generation for the stability of the whole system. Organic waste from the crops are reused in the context of this circle. So, all in all, we have a closed circular system operating, supporting a plant-based nutrition. And of course, most of the derivatives are being immediately used. Most of the produce is immediately used. So we have a standalone, a self-sufficient system, which is in constant balance with the resources of the place, of the island. In terms of energy, we rely on power generation through photovoltaics, and we have the agricultural photovoltaics within the crops, within the cultivations. So we also have batteries to store energy that is abundant in summertime, so we have a stable system, a balanced system throughout the year. At the level of water, demand is mainly covered by secondary sources, reducing thus the need to produce potable water through desalination. Fluctuation of consumption follows the seasonality, and rainwater collection strengthens or enhances the overall water management system, so we have an efficient and balanced water cycle. Last, and thank you for being so patient, in terms of agriculture and food production, the system is based on a diverse plant production or diverse plant production. We have open-air crops and greenhouses, ensuring thus stable production during the year. The selection of the species and its distribution is based on their resilience to wind and sun and their needs for care. So we have another efficient and balanced circle that coexists with the rest of the concepts described already. Ending. Our approach has been greatly affected by the level of the competition itself. Gyaros NGO and the Alumil company plus the jury raised the bar at the very high early enough, so that it was quite challenging. And the fact that we had a transdisciplinary jury coming from, including people from architecture, sustainability, environmental protection, invited us to approach this project in a multidisciplinary way. And of course, the outcome has also been supported by our collaboration with Petros Litsetis. We'd like to thank him for helping us build these photorealistic representations you saw before. We are young architects in Greece, so we believe it is important to have these opportunities in order to bring together different specializations, different ways of thinking. Through these initiatives, architectural dialogue is being promoted, architecture as a science is upgraded, and of course the quality of our building environment, built environment. The same applies to resilience in this ever-changing environment in which we live. Thank you very, very much.
Θα καλέσω την κυρία Ρώη Καβαλιεράτου.
I would like to invite Mrs. Roy Cavalleratou to confer the award. The floor now to Mr. Evangelos Gyugis, President of the Association of Imprisoned and Exiled Resistant Fighters. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I will be a bit unpleasant. I'm here to say something completely different to awards. I fully respect your struggle of the people who produce these ideas. But on the other hand, I have to say the following. Those of us who lived there and standing here before you, we went there in 67, 68, 74. We know very well what Gyaros is. We have lived there. What we want is for Gyaros to remain a place of memory. There are studies on what we are asking since 2004, signed by Mrs. Anna Vriseas, professor of the National Technical University. Some of her, she passed away, but we have her assistant still with us. What we ask as the Association of the Imprisoned and Exiled Resistant Fighters is the following. This place, this historic island, this place should not be tapped. It should remain as such. We want no intervention. We want no other touristic development. What we want is to preserve the prisons, to preserve the cemetery of the pier, so that these places are open to visitors. Sadly, by the proposals and the bids I saw, we have blunt intervention. So I was wondering, while watching the projects of these young people, do they want to intervene when it... Would you like to intervene in this building, this Parthenon of human suffering, a place built with the blood and the sweat of thousands of prisoners? Is that what you want? Is this what you want to embellish or to redecorate? No. As an association, we want to preserve the building, the one you saw before, and the other ones, of course, which for years have been derelict and are collapsing because of the decay of time. That's what we actually want. We also want, and we have issued many decisions. Also 2 years ago we did the same thing, and we said that all these works of seemingly development have to be stopped. Mr. Milonas, don't they dare continue with the works there. Let's show respect to the suffering and the historic memory of the place. That's our pledge. I also invoke to what the Prime Minister told us 2 years ago. I think there was a Deputy Minister here representing the government. Nothing will, that's what Mr. Mitsotakis said 2 years ago. Nothing will happen without the consent of the association. That was his explicit commitment. I'm just saying that for the record. So, in order not to spend more time, let me tell you what we're asking for. We talked to the Minister of, we sent a letter to the Minister of Culture, Ms. Mendoni, for the full protection of all the buildings, erasing every thought for business or touristic use of the island, by abolishing the ministerial decision to define the minister, which was, and the preservation regime has been contained to the prisons only. As a result of that decision, we want to swiftly implement the works signed in 2001, following a joint ministerial decision by the Ministers of Culture and the Agencia that have been approved by the Central Council on Modern Monuments. And for those studies, the government has paid the full cost, but they have not been implemented yet. So, the same way Parthenon remains as it is, with no interventions, no embellishment, no decoration, no green added, etc., or Dachau in other areas, in other monuments, keep the place the same, preserve it, and make it open for the guests. As for the presidential decree, we haven't read it yet as an association. We will assess it in our next meeting, and we'll give you our feedback. So, what we want is to keep the place, keep the place as it is, a place of historic memory, and keep the buildings as they stand. No interventions, no additional buildings, no museums in the prisons. So we can fully remember and respect our modern history. Thank you.
Θα προσκαλέσω τον κύριο...
I would like now to invite Mr. Stelios Vasiliou, member of the association.
Yes, yes.
Hello. It is great to have a say on Gyaros and these places of memory, of torture. It's something that we acquired after the fall of the dictatorship. I was born when the gunfire was hurling in a bleeding Greece. I learned about Gyaros in the 1950s and the horror it brought about. I read about this terror at the age of 15. I experienced terror at the age of 17 because I was chained and moved to Gyaros. It was said that kings and rulers will name the places of torture and suffering of the communists and the misfits, the leftists who had different ideas and different ideals to be turned into ponds and pools. They failed. History is the punisher. It allowed for these places to be shown, to be displayed as castles of memory of the highest sacrifice one can do. The places themselves remained standing as uncompromised, untapped castles. Those swaying the power could not take a handful of soil from these castles, and they will never be able to do that. So when we met with the Macronissos and other islands and the prisoners and exiled fighters from other islands, we understood that we had a legacy to bring forward. No water, no soil, to the merchants of profits, to the executioners of the best young people of our people back then. That's exactly what we're saying today. You heard our president before. No square centimeter of land belongs to anyone except for the people, our kids, and our history, because this piece of land will always be filled with blood, tears, sacrifice, suffering, and sweat. Sweat because you had to carry all the rocks on our shoulders. This sacred place should not be included in the energy exchange of tourism and profits, nor in the books of history can we ever say that we, the last prisoners, the last people suffering in Gyaros, that we sold Gyaros against anything. Never, never, never. Ideals cannot be bought. This place can only become a public space of culture, memory, in which new generations of researchers, students, and pupils will be freely. Only these people will freely visit this place until they understand that the final end is to stop the abuse of people by people. When the night falls in Gyaros, when the wind hurls, and we hear the whizzing sound, these are the souls of the prisoners. Who is going to handle that? Thank you. Now I would like to invite Dr. Evangelos Liroudias to conclude the event, symbol of Alumil and a main contributor to today's event. To the extent I can. In my family, we have had 5 prisoners. In 1969, we have been evacuated from Rethymnon because of the order of the military commander. Today, I'm a friend with the son of Makarezos. I hated the dictatorship. I used to have a building with 2 rooms now, and I used to sleep on a chair. I never went to jail. My father suffered a lot. I'm friend with the son of Makarezos because I experienced the rough character of dictatorship, and he met with the wild character of the democracy and the republic when he tried to get his father out of the jail. Because I never challenged anything of what you said. We're going to have time. Now we are friends. For me, there was a small boat coming back and forth from Gyaros, moving prisoners. People who didn't want to go. And then there was another boat moving foodstuff to them. So I know I'm a bit dramatic, but that's the history, the way we experience that, because history has not been experienced only by the one side. So I said, why don't they build a boat to take us to Gyaros? So this competition we launched, and all of you who participated, you actually boarded a ship, a boat, to go somewhere. Why did we board this ship? In order to be part of a competition. So what is a competition about? An architectural competition exists for a very simple reason. And I'm saying that to you, Andreas. You have been a decision maker and you have been the youngest prisoner. And you had to choose a side. You always picked the option of giving opportunities to others. Or were you just in selecting to go along with what the master would say? As a president of the architects, I categorically said no to any kind of outsourcing the research project to anyone, because masters may be mistaken. You mentioned a name which was very dear to me, both herself and her husband. I told you that. But this doesn't mean that they have the right to deprive all these people of expressing their viewpoints, to get on board this boat that used to go to Gyaros and it's going to Gyaros today, because competitions are here to open space, allow new voices to challenge, to doubt, to question the rules and redefine priorities. That's what you saw today. This is not a battle to prevail. No, it's an opening. It's a rupture through which new thoughts are squeezing out. So that's what we did. We broke up a rupture for new ideas to come out. These thoughts represent the future. We cannot say that, okay, Gyaros, you don't want Gyaros, okay, we'll never touch Gyaros. You know what we earned? We earned a method to get to Santorini with young Milonas here. We can now Santorini and be ready to deal with all these wood, water, energy issues, the sun. All our islands suffer because of people who know nothing about what they're doing. The local governments, they're completely ignorant. I've been a part of the local governments and I left immediately. Gyaros is the toughest challenge of all. It was just a sandbox for a new method to be deployed. I think we were successful in that. From the initial doubt until the last 30 bids that were shortlisted, we saw more than ideas. It was a shift from imposing a specific form, which is, I have the study which should be implemented, to another point, the point of understanding the location. We all managed something to create additional interest for a place that was collapsing. Even the fact that you know that the fish there became extremely heavy, and the fishermen were invited in order to fish, and everybody said that we have to fish because the fish are growing bigger. So the main idea about Gyaros is that prohibition is not protection. Do you agree? The young architects. Knowledge is protection. Prohibitions, that's something easy. Prohibition means do nothing until I have the opportunity to create something for me to earn. That's what those who prohibit things think of. So architecture as a discipline, we moved to architecture as a system, as a way of responsibility. I think we did that as well. We mobilized so many people because now everybody knows that there is an issue there. The government itself will now show interest in the island. And as Mr. Milonas said at the beginning, and Ms. Papadopoulou is here, who didn't have the opportunity of listening to what Mr. Milonas said about her personally. The government rushed to build this conservation institution, or this body, that has already given money to a private entity, and they have a great collaboration with you as far as I know. And now we have a public agency taking care of Gyaros as a whole. If they need us, we'll stand next to them. If they need us as scientists, as human beings who showed interest for Gyaros after 21 years. I think that was the last time everybody showed some interest about Gyaros. So what I would like is the following. I see two great friends of mine here that have, let's say, applied left to a pedestal. Andreas has spent 4 years in the toughest ministry of all. I don't want to embarrass him. Maybe he would like to say a few words, but please tell me your opinion, because you spent 4 years in a ministry that was struggling, in which my friend Yannis Padis died in the ministry during the fight for the labor issues, and Andreas Nefeloudis managed to survive. I see we have here the deputy head of the region, Petros, apart from a friend of mine, although we were in different parties, because, you know, I belong to no party. I'm in favor of common sense. But, you know, life had it that I never went out to scream slogans, but Petros would give me money as long as I could provide him with the proper designs and studies, because he was the deputy head of the region. So I don't want to move on that, to continue. I just want to close this of this event. For me, this has been, how to put it, I was proven right, because it was a way to say that some of my friends, that's my vindication, that some of my friends, like Mr. Milonas, who had to accept whatever crazy thing I say, but Mr. Salpikidis, he is the person in charge of all 3 competitions. Lots of people worked about this project. And Emilia Kaliviotou, she was there to solve all problems. Thank you. And, of course, okay, she did her job, but if it wasn't for my due lung experts, you have been saved from my speech, because I had lung cancer, and they revived me, and they allowed me to come here to say a few words, to torment you with my words. So, thank you very, very much, all of you. Our effort will continue, not just for Gyaros, but for many, many other things. But for Gyaros in particular, I have to have a chat, a public debate with Andreas. If it turns out into a fight, that will be great, but I think it will evolve into a creative synthesis with mutual respect to all. And I also have a friend whose father was a prisoner there and has the memory of the boat bringing foodstuff back and forth in the island. So we give life to this issue. So it's not embarrassing being proud of bringing this topic into the forelight. So I'm proud of being interested with Gyaros. And I remember I was in the Netherlands when it first occurred to me about Gyaros. I said, no, we're going to get messy there. And my wife told me, not Gyaros. And then I went to Thanasis Martinos, and he told me, I'm standing by your side. We will do it together. And he came here to help me. You're laughing, right? I know that he's telling me everything, you know. I know that he shared his love for you. There are some comments. He's now with you. He isn't after us. It's not bad. After all, okay, Milonas is here, Nikos is here, and Em is here, and the doctors are here, and Maria is here, from IPK, from the agency. And since you love Mitsotakis, let's hope God will give him more days so that Maria remains in the jury. So thank you very, very much for your attendance.
Και θα είμαστε αγαπημένοι έτσι κι αλλιώς.
We love each other. Nothing can divide us. Thank you.
Η Αναστασία, δύο αποχαιρετιστήρια.
Η συζήτηση.
So the discussion will continue during the cocktails. Congratulations to the participants, the winners. Thank you very much for your attendance.